Hello, I'm Chris Richmond, and today I'm off out to record some train sounds.
Right, the joys of living in the middle of North Norfolk mean that first I have to drive several miles to my nearest railway station. Now here's a bit of a history lesson. In the golden age of the train, there were several rail lines crisscrossing the county, but even before the infamous Beeching Acts of the 1960s, Norfolk's rail network was becoming skeletal, and passenger numbers on many branch lines were struggling. Today my nearest stations are either at Sheringham to the east or King's Lynn to the west, making rail travel very inconvenient. However, today I'm not travelling by train, merely using trains as a recording subject, so let's see where we end up.
After an hour's drive, I end up on the outskirts of the Broadland village of Brundall, which is on the trunk of the branch lines from Norwich to Great Yarmouth and Lowestoft. Being the right side of Brundall Junction means that twice as many trains pass here than at other points further down the line.
So why am I out here recording trains in the first place? Well, I'm a bit of a railway enthusiast, and in the coming months it's going to be all change as an entirely new fleet of trains will soon be taking over the East Anglian rail network. This means that the days are numbered for capturing the sounds of the old trains which have been part of the character of the lines here for decades.
These two-car diesel trains, known as sprinters, are currently the mainstay of the branch lines in the east, and have been since their introduction in the 1980s. Their more modern counterparts, the Class 170 Turbostars, make an appearance from time to time, although they tend to operate on the line towards Cambridge.
However, here on the Wherry lines, an increasingly rare beast emerges from the past, and its engines make for a real sonic treat. Some say the sound of its engines is enough to make plates rattle in nearby houses. Some say it causes a wave of sonic destruction, setting off a chorus of car alarms in its wake. Now, if I've done my homework correctly, it should be with us very shortly.
No, it's not a Deltic. This train is top and tailed by two 1960s English Electric built diesel locomotives known as Class 37s.
Each loco contains a massive V12 turbocharged English electric diesel engine pumping out over 1700 horsepower.
The 37s head to Lowestoft and are due to return in an hour and 20 minutes. In that time, several more sprinter-type trains pass, giving me more material to work with. An important point to consider when recording passing trains is the angle of the microphones towards the tracks. For example, if the mics are directed across the rails as the train passes, you'll get a nice hard left-to-right stereo image. Or I could direct the mics at 45 degrees to the oncoming train, with a stereo image reflecting the train passing on one side only. I will attempt to get recordings from both perspectives, and then we can compare the results once I get back.
Right, now the old 37 should be back in about 10 minutes, so we've moved a bit closer to the line, because I believe this one actually stops at the station, so we should get a nice pull away. So what we'll do this time is we'll turn it at 45 degrees to the track, and you'll hear the difference. The main stereo effects should all be on one side as the train passes. Oh, here it is, it's now coming. Oh dear, I got that wrong, didn't I? She went straight past. Right, let's get those back and see how they turned out.
Right, now I've transferred the files to the PC so we can now see how they sound and hear the difference between the two microphone angles. I've had to apply a little low-cut filter to the quieter parts of the sound as there was a bit of a breeze causing unwanted wind rumble on the bottom end. First I'll show you the one of the Class 37s passing with the mics facing straight across the tracks. As the train passes, you can hear it clearly approaching from the left and then disappearing to the right, which is a nice stereo effect. Now, let's listen to the other one of the 37s passing with the mic at a 45-degree angle to the tracks. As you can hear, the train passes on the left side only, so the stereo effect isn't as dramatic. Now, which one do you think is more useful for moving image? Here are my thoughts. Whilst the dramatic stereo effect of the first example sounds nice, it would only be suited to replicate the sound if the camera angle was facing the train side on. Notice in my video clips of the trains, the camera faces the trains approaching. If the camera were to stay at that angle, the natural audio would sound more like the latter example, with the sound focused on one side as the train passes. But here's another thing I noticed. If you were to pan the camera to track the train as it passes, you would actually get a reverse stereo effect, similar to the first example, as you rotate the camera, ending with the train passing on the opposite side of the frame to the approach. Confusing, or clever? Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this brief insight into how I record trains. Thanks for watching. Now for the obligatory closing paragraph. If you enjoy following my quirky, if slightly self-indulgent adventures, please don't forget to like and subscribe. This filmmaking lark just wouldn't be worth it without the support of watchers like you. Until next time, thanks for watching, and goodbye.